Welcome to CAN TV 21 Hotline. Let's talk etiquette. My name is Nathan Wright. I'm with the Etiquette Foundation of Illinois. And welcome again to another outstanding subject on this particular day. But first, before I start the show off, I want to take a moment to introduce my guest, my special co-host, Georgia Salmon. Welcome, Georgia, to another Let's Talk Etiquette.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wright. It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be on Let's Talk Etiquette. I'm enjoying this experience totally.
Wonderful.
So I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. For a second there, I had a memory lapse on the subject for this evening. But we're going to return to the subject from last week. And that is, and I'm going to put that on the overhead, and it's dumbing down of America. Now, last week we covered a number of sessions or topics on that particular show topic. And we want to return to that because there's so much information out here on that subject that is really mind-boggling. I'm telling you, I'm having a mind-boggling experience today because I have done some research and Ms. Selman has done some research that really tell us a great deal about what has happened over the last 50 years in our country. But call us. You can call us at 312-738-1060. Let me give it to you again. Call us at 312-738-1060 and join the conversation on dumbing down of America. Okay? And so let's start the topic off. You think we need to start by rereading that definition again?
Please, let's
from
take a look
Wikipedia?
at yes, let's take a look at the definition.
I'm going to put that up there again so that you can look at it. This came right from Wikipedia, and I hope you can see that. You like to read that, Ms. Selman?
Sure, absolutely. Dumbing down is the deliberate oversimplification of intellectual content within education, literature, cinema, news, video games, and culture in order to relate to those unable to assimilate more sophisticated information. Whoa!
Wow. That's a heavy definition, if I must say so.
I think that the words that really gets to my heart is deliberate. Deliberate.
Yes.
I mean, it's a deliberate oversimplification of intellectual content within education. Now, I'm really partial to education because I'm an educator.
Yes.
And when I see something like this, and I know that it's not a fabrication, I know that it is indeed a reality.
Yes.
It hurts my heart. It angers me.
Yes.
And I could say some more words, but I'm going to keep it clean.
Yes.
But it's really disturbing that we are in a society that deliberately and shrink education to appeal to what
we're able to comprehend, our ability to receive and retain information. That should be at the highest level. We should be excelling in education and not regressing in education. And we see it and we hear it every day.
And challenging our people, the people that we're educating, on all levels.
Yes.
Challenging them to think more critically, to be more desiring to learn more and more. Nathan and I were having a conversation before the show started about our upbringing and education.
Yes.
And I remember vividly some of the subject matters that we had to retain in order to go to the next level.
Yes.
In 8th grade, we had to learn the preamble. We had to learn the Constitution.
Yes.
We had to learn the articles. And we had to know that information before we even thought
To the-
about going on
to the
to
next
high
grade.
school. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. And it's really about your ability to memorize. And that's what I believe is missing. Whatever you taught a child in the first, second, third grade, they should retain that information into their adulthood. And if it's not retained for just that grade, then how is it a benefit to them when they get into a higher grade?
Well, who's responsible? Let's talk a bit about who's responsible
The
for some of
educators,
this.
obviously, but the parent as well. We must start with the parent.
Absolutely.
And we devoted several shows to parenting. And if you're not aware of what your child is there to learn, and that your child is learning it at the level they should be learning it, then your child is not getting a quality education. And we're working with teenagers.
And what's happening
And
is that whoever is allowing dumbing down to continue to be a part of that whole process,
Yes.
we have to stop it.
yes,
Parents, educators, we have to stop it.
right. And this is what this show is involved in, making our audience aware of this issue because it's not being talked about. And most do not understand the impact that it's having on our whole culture. It is having a profound impact on that. But we have a caller. Caller,
Yeah, good evening, y'all. This is James.
hello,
Okay.
James.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now they still closing the board of education still closing the schools down. But who pointing the finger at the governor and who pointing the finger at the mayor? They still gonna close the school down.
Well, the subject today, James, is about dumbing down of America, and that includes our educational system. And it's certainly a huge issue, not only here in Chicago, but all over the country.
Yes.
So, James, if you can give us a question or ask us a question on that particular subject, or even make a statement, we would greatly appreciate it. Would you-
Okay.
would
Who
you-
do you think who's fault if they gonna close the school down?
But
Board of
James,
Education.
James, we're not talking about the closing of the schools. We're talking about dumbing down of America. So give that some thought and call me back, okay?
Okay.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, it's important that we not deviate into a Pacific. It's a national problem.
Exactly, and
it's-
truly, I mean, true enough, schools, education is definitely what we're talking about, and
Absolutely.
it is the dumbing down starts there,
Yes.
and there's
Yes.
so many articles and so many writings about dumbing down. I just want people to be aware that our children are being affected, and
Absolutely.
if they're being affected educationally, trust me, they're not going to stand a chance in the real world,
No. No.
in the real world, in mainstream America.
Absolutely.
And if we don't do something to stop this dumbing down disease,
That's a good term. That's a good way to describe it.
then we're going
Yes.
to just a whole generation, a whole
You can see the effects of it. The last generation, two generation have been so impacted by it. You can see the standards are so low. I mean, even in the dress attire, it's just the lowest that you can go for, dress attire in public. And we're teaching etiquette. And the children have very little understanding of how important their behavior is in society. And we're dealing with that with our students. And many of them, once we explain to them the importance and value of learning etiquette, they get it.
but it has to be consistency.
Yes.
Etiquette education is one component.
Yes, it is.
And we are definitely doing our part. We are trying to make as many stops as we can to promote etiquette education, manners, and morals.
Yes.
And challenging our young people to look at other behaviors other than the sagging culture
Right.
and read more.
Yes.
Our kids, our youth are not reading more, and like they should be.
Yes.
It's a huge challenge, and I don't think it's a something that we can't change. But I
can.
think everybody's going to have to get on board.
Yes, absolutely. So what we are doing to get on board with it, we outline several points that we believe is important for our very, very short time here on air. And we'd like to start with some of the bullet points that we copied from the internet so that we can share those with you. The top one is, it says, is technology dumbing down society? Well, we agree that technology is dumbing down society. And the reason for that is because you made a great point, Ms. Selman, about penmanship and cursive writing.
Cursive.
Right. And that they have removed that from many of the schools, perhaps not all of them, but a great number of them are not teaching our children how to write. And the reason, the rationale was what?
Well, I don't think it's a mandate, and if I'm incorrect, then I would just love for someone to call in and correct me. But from what I understand, cursive writing is no longer a part of the educational curriculum, and I'm inclined to believe it, simply because I'm in the schools all the time, and I see the handwork of young people and the handwriting of young people. Trust me, they're not cursive writing, and the penmanship is poor. And I'm
Very
just
poor.
being honest about
Right.
it. The penmanship is poor. We have a caller. Let's
Yes.
see what the caller has to say.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and good evening to everyone.
Steve, how are you? Good to
I'm
hear
doing
from
great. And I also want to wish everyone that's listening, please have a safe weekend
you. Yes.
and a happy holiday. Let's have a good time. Let's just be safe and have a
Yes.
good time, and we be able to come back next week and speak to y'all guys again. Listen, dumbing down. I'm going to say something. I hope no one get offended about it, but I think it starts at home. You learn from your parents. They've been dumbing down many times. It goes all the way up until you are an adult, and you still be dumbing down. Um, I'm going to say something. I think a master of dumbing down is a person that needs to have your show, and that is the President of the United States of America. I think he's a specialist of dumbing down. You have to look at what people do. You have to be responsible what people say. So sometimes people try to correct what they know is wrong by making you think that you are wrong and he is right or she is right. So it's a way that people do. Have you ever seen someone that try to make wrong right?
Yes, of course.
And just the way that you know is wrong, but listening to someone to say to
Give
you
you the
what they're
rationale.
trying to justify. So, people try to justify anything. But if you're smart enough and understand things, you're going to know that it's wrong. So
Right.
you have to be responsible sometimes yourself. You don't go along with everything what it's saying. How can
Right.
you say something if you don't know nothing, but yet and still people say things
That
and
is
they
so
talking
true.
to someone else who don't know nothing.
Right.
So again, it starts at home. And
Yes,
then what
absolutely.
they don't give it at home, so then they come to school and they expect that you to give it to them,
Right.
and they really don't understand or want to understand it.
Right.
Then they go to church and they try to get a little something of that there, and they still don't get it, but yet and still they take it back to the streets and make other things. It's, you know what, maybe it's just the world is
Good
turned
point.
like this.
Good
I
point.
don't want to hog y'all show
Yes.
because,
Good
you
point.
get me started.
Right.
I'm going to put a little accountability to
Good
everybody.
point, Steve.
But
Yes.
again, y'all have a wonderful show.
Thank you for
Send
calling.
this tape to the White House. Let them
Yes.
see it. And I hope that maybe you could correct things. Maybe people could listen to
Well,
y'all.
we trying,
And I
Steve.
like that knot, too.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks for
Steve.
taking my call.
Yeah,
Let me
thank you
get
for
out there.
calling.
So, can you
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
let's stay on the line for a moment, Steve. Georgia, would you, Ms. Helen, would you like to comment on that?
Well, I absolutely, Steve. I am so much in agreement with you. I think everything, education especially, starts at home, and until the parents at home make their way into the various systems that's responsible for dumbing down, we aren't going to go anywhere because
Right.
it has to be a collective effort. Parents have to be more involved in our school systems. They have to attend PTA meetings. They have to serve on the PTA boards. They have to attend the parent-teacher conferences.
Yes.
They have to go to whoever make the laws and responsible for developing curriculum. They have to make sure that their children are being challenged educationally.
Right.
That's my take, Steve.
Yes.
And I think we're on the same page. We have another
Yes.
caller.
Yes, but before we take that call, I just want to add to what Steve was saying, just to give you some data. We're like number 37 on the list of education for industrialized country. We're nearly at the bottom of that list for industrialized countries all over the world. We're number 38, and that's really very, very sad.
It is sad. It is sad.
Yes.
And we're going to always be at the
Bottom.
bottom of the totem pole if we collectively
Yes,
don't do anything
Thank
to
you.
make the difference.
that's so true.
So we can't point. I'm not a point finger type of person. I think everybody should be held accountable for all of the actions that we live in this society.
And we're asking you to take the initiative and begin to work towards changing this system. I think we have a caller. Caller,
Yeah, this James again. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, James.
Okay. I think they come out things gonna get better, right? But it seems like things are getting rougher.
Oh, I agree. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Things are getting worse.
Okay, it's just like
That's so
people,
true, James. You're right. Things are getting
And people
worse.
losing their job, and everything is going up, and then people losing their going to another city, finding jobs there, better jobs, and it seems like most of these jobs
What,
is closing down,
James?
leaving to another city.
James, that doesn't quite, is in the area of dumbing down about people moving all over the country to find employment. But, call us back with a good question, and we'll be more than happy to try to answer it for you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, James. Appreciate it. Let me go back to the overhead, Ms. Selman. Okay, the next one is anti-intellectualism and the dumbing down of America. Anti-intellectualism and the dumbing down. So in this article, they talked about those things that were considered intellectual, like the things we're talking about now. That's an intellectual subject. And avoiding those kinds of discussions was part of the dumbing down. Anything that may fall into the category of being an intellectual topic, we should not be talking about it. And so that's by design. They are deliberately removing those kinds of questions that you may say, well, why are our children doing so bad in school?
Well, anti-intellectualism, that's just the opposite, of intellectualism. If you can't speak on that level, in that circle, then there's a flaw somewhere. You
won't fit in.
You don't fit in,
Right.
absolutely. And somewhere, somehow, you have been dumbed down. Your education has been diluted.
Yes.
It's been reduced, and it's been shrinked.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to
Yes.
make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yes. And part of, no matter where you go in this society, if it's up the ladder, you're going to find situations that you're going to be talking about very complex subjects. And you really do need to have a position on a lot of these subjects so that you can participate in the conversation. And so if you are lacking knowledge in that area, then you aren't able to participate. You just be standing there listening. And that's so unfortunate. So it is important that you understand what is going on around you and how it's impacting your society. I think we have one more caller. Do we have a caller? Do we have
You
a
know,
caller?
I just want to ask y'all
Oh,
two
okay. That's Steve.
a quick question. From preschool to eighth grade, do you see that is it just that kids not interested? Do they just tune it out, or they think it's
Good
not going to
question.
be, serving them any good in school? Because like I said, I heard y'all earlier, in eighth grade you had to do things and know things before you went to
Right.
high school. But it
What?
seems like now these kids don't really care. And again, it has to start at the beginning. So I just want to know, do you think that is true? Then we maybe need to get out and try to do better, try to help
Yeah,
everybody.
absolutely.
Let me get
Absolutely.
out there
You are-
and I'll take your response. And please be
Okay.
honest about that
Okay.
one.
Okay.
That's a very good question,
You
Steve.
can take it first on that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think, no, I don't think the kids are responsible in any way, form, or fashion. I think that the kids are listening to the leaders, and the leaders are the parents and the teachers and the other educators in their environment. That's who they are looking up to, listening to, and learn from. And
Right.
learn from.
Right.
I don't think that we are challenging our youth enough. I think the challenges should be greater. And I think the critical thinking should be a part of that process.
Yes.
And if we're not engaging them accordingly, if we're not challenging them, then we can't hold them responsible.
Yes. I think one of the things that is going on in this society today is that our children are being inundated. It's like they're receiving too much information from the TV, from the video games, from within their community, and our children just really fed so much information that they are not able to decipher that information in a comprehensive way. And I think that's part of the dumbing down. And they're not getting good instructions in the home as to how to evaluate a certain kind of program or a video game that they're just simply given to play with without really having some adult evaluation of that game so that you can explain to your child there's some violence in this game or I don't want you to play it because I think it's harmful to you. The children now are not getting that kind of assessment of what they're being exposed to, and I think that's one of the harmful things.
Well, that's
going on.
dumbing. That's part of the
They're dumbing
process
down.
of dumbing down.
Yes.
And so if it's in the home, then the parent is responsible for that.
Yes.
So if parents are allowing their children to spend more time on video games as opposed to reading a book, spending 45 minutes an evening reading, or 15 minutes or 20 minutes reading a book, then we're responsible. Let's just own up to that.
Absolutely.
Let's own up to
And
that.
I think what has happened, part of the dumbing down, is to distract the parent from parenting. In other words, if I can fill that parent with a lot of nonsense, titillating kinds of things for them to watch and to tune into, they are not really parenting. You see it in public. The parent is not even watching their child because they're so busy on the phone or texting. So we know the impact of technology in the process of dumbing us down because the parent is not doing the job that they should be doing in regards to their child. Because of these distractions and titillating kinds of things that's being thrown out there at them constantly, 24 hours a day. One of the studies said how many hours a day are parents, adults watching TV? 8-10 hours a day is devoted to television. What the benefit is that much TV to you or to your family?
That's a part of the dumbing down syndrome.
Great.
It's a part of that, and I'm sure I'm going to have people that's going to challenge me with this a subject, and I welcome the challenge. I think when we're all communicating and
Yes.
having some dialogue about such topics, then it helps us to get greater understanding. But I don't want to be no one to be delusional about it. We are living in a society that's dumbing down educationally, dumbing down our children,
Every
and,
moment.
and dumbing down our lifestyle. Because if we're not preparing our kids for the real world, corporate
Yes.
America,
Yes.
to go into that world and
Yes.
be successful, then we are dumbing part of the dumbing down process.
Right.
And I challenge anyone at any time, bring your concerns, your questions, and we can continue this this
Conversation.
dialogue.
Absolutely. Well, that was a wonderful concluding commentary from you, and we do appreciate it. It's a great subject, and so we do plan to perhaps talk about it more in the future, and we certainly would like for you to join us in this discussion. It is a very, very important subject, and thank you, my very special co-host. And I'd like to give you the last word because our time is up.
Well, you do that every week. You give
Right.
me the last word. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I really appreciate you being a part of this program, and I would encourage everyone to call us. Call us with your comments and your questions.
Yes,
We
yes,
are willing
yes,
to
yes.
go as far as you want to take the subject. We
Yes.
appreciate you tuning in. Thanks again, and until next time.
Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Good night.